Okay. So do you have any questions last session?
No,
Okay.
no, you carry on.
Okay, take it. So last time we discussed about flow variables and session variables related thing. So we didn't see on session variable how to fetch it and all. So we'll see on that. So again, I'm giving one more example for flow variable and properties difference actually. So we'll explain once again. See here, this is one example I created. So this is an inbound endpoint. So then next one is set payload. So set payload is nothing but a which is holding. So whenever user send the data, so your consumer, right? So when he sends the data, we can hold this data actually. So dynamically we can hold it. As of now, I just hard coded. So it contains that requested data. So next one is property. I kept property. So I was clearly explained difference between variable and property. You can see here. So there are three properties here. I mean three features in the property. So one is set property, remove property, copy properties. I'm getting a query parameter from the URL. So I'm just holding into one property. So the main difference is property and variable. If you see here, in variable also I'm holding the data here. I'm holding the data. So this type is getting from the through URL. Okay.
Venkat, can you just repeat?
Yeah. See what
Explanation
I'm
is
trying.
not actually correctly.
Oh, is it? So whenever you won't speak, just mute it because I'm going to record this session, right? I'm going to upload in YouTube also. Just
Okay, okay.
so that's why whenever you won't speak, just mute it. Whenever you have a question, just enable and ask the questions. So
Sure, sure. Okay.
what I'm trying to say here again. So yesterday you said you are not much clarity on the difference between variable and property. That's why I'm giving to that on the same answer again. I was same thing I was explained again. I'm giving. So if you have any bit confusion on that, I'm going to explain again. So here, so I kept a payload here that holds the requested data. Next one is property. So whatever I'm sending the through URL, I'm holding the information into property. In the property, so there are three features actually. One is set property, another one is remove property, copy property. So next one is similarly I'm holding information into variable also here. I mean I'm fetching from the URL itself. That is also query parameter, that is type, and here that is name. These two parameters coming from the URL itself. That's why I called it as a query parameters. So if you are using get a type of request, mostly people will use this type of query parameters actually. So we have to send the data through query parameters. I told you the limit, I mean restriction also. There is it allow only 256 character kind of thing. So here difference is, if you see here, so these are inbound properties. I just hold the name into property. Next one is variable. I just hold it type in the variable. So there is two features here: set variable, remove variable. If you want to remove that, you can remove it. So what we are doing here, we just keep it that information into message. Message means message. I will explain you that. I mean, already explained that message structure actually. Message contains different properties like inbound properties, outbound properties, and attachment also. So here what we are doing, so whenever you keep that property, so that will go to outbound properties actually. Whenever keep that data, that holding data, so from the we are getting from the query parameter, we just assign to the property that will go to the outbound properties. So how will fetch it that information? See this, I'm trying to fetch that both the information. property information as well as variable information. If you want to get the property information, we have to use message dot outbound properties dot that query parameters. Whatever the query parameter, we have to get it, right. So that will come as a outbound properties. That is the main difference. Next one is the variable. How we fetch the variable? So using flow vars. This is Mule expression actually. So using this Mule expression, we can fetch the values dynamically. So these are dynamically. Today I will explain that Mule expression language also MEL, how we'll use it. So what is the syntax and all. So it's look like a JSP actually. If you heard about JSP in Java, Java server pages, it's look like a similar kind of thing. We can see in debug mode also they provide one feature actually. So in debug mode we can see what was the information we are getting, we are getting any null values, we are getting, suppose suddenly we'll get exception, right. So why it is getting exception, we can see everything in that Mule expression language in the middle of sometime actually. So while debugging mode, I will show you that part also where you will check it now. So that is about property and variable. I hope you are clear. So any questions still on that?
Carry on.
Okay, thank you. I'm trying to,
Yeah, actually, you are just a second. Actually, you are saving the message in set payload, right?
yes.
Again, how to retrieve that if I want it somewhere?
If
How
you
do you
want, yeah, yeah,
retrieve it?
simple thing only. If you want to retrieve it, just payload that is, right. You can just simply control slash, you can use shortcut, it will open. So this is a payload actually.
Okay.
Payload you can see. I'm just, that one also I'm trying to retrieve in logger itself. Original payload and keep it. As well as we can see in here also that payload. So here also you can see browser. See whatever you set the data into payload, that we can see in browser itself. So here I am trying to display that payload also. This is a way to retrieve the payload actually. So this is a Mule expression language. Hash within a square bracket you can pass this, right? So you can display that one also. Just holding the, I'm trying to display that one also in logger itself. I'm trying to deploy it. I'm trying to deploy in a debug mode. I will show you how to test it in the debug mode. Mule expression language. Run as Mule application. Sorry, debug as Mule application. I just keep it a debug here. So right click on the particular component wherever you want to stop that flow. Just right click on that component, just choose toggle breakpoint. If you want to remove the toggle breakpoint, just again right click on that, click on the toggle point, it won't it will go on. Okay, so deployed successfully. I just cleared the logs. Just I'm trying to hit it. So it's a create variable. So base path. So this was expecting some parameters, right? What are the parameters? One is query parameter as a name, another one is type as a, okay, anyway I hide the request. I hit the request already. See this in uh, I just stopped the debug here, breakpoint I kept it, so that's why. See, from the user we are not getting any data as of now, so because I just hard coded the data here, that's why it was showing payload as a null. So click the next level, so you can use shortcut as a F6 or else click this symbol. Okay, now see the payload. You can see dynamic mode also, and you can see in debug mode clearly what payload you are getting. That to what type of data we are getting. This will be more useful actually while developing the services. We can see like this actually. We are really getting the payload. What type of payload we are getting. Sometimes after hitting some target or after hitting some database, we're getting some array kind of thing, byte array, something different buffer input stream we are getting, but the type got will get different actually. So the target system written different way. So that time what happened, we need to use some transformers, we have to convert it actually. For analyzing purpose, we can do in debug mode. What type of data we can get it, we can see here actually type. So apart from that, you can see here, I told you about inbound properties, outbound properties, and variables and session variables and all, right? You can see here. So even I was already explained these things. Inbound properties, you can see all these things. So what query parameters we are getting. As of now, I didn't see any query parameter. Mistakenly I didn't enter anything. So then as of now, size 0. You can see the remote address, you can see the query path. So this will more useful actually. So if you want to use anywhere else, you can, based on this HTTP request path or request URI, based on this you can use anywhere else if you want. So I want to use this path, that slash create variable, right? So based on that I want to route it. I want to route to other flow, because think like this. In my application there is a different service, create opportunity or update opportunity. So based on the relative path, so that relative path means user will try it, create opportunity, slash create opportunity, slash update opportunity. That time what happen? We'll get that relative path. So how we'll get it? So that will come by default in the inbound properties actually. You can capture that inbound property. Based on that, we can write the logic with using choice or else using some router component. You can route it actually. So further there is a API kit is there internally, that by in Mule we can use that API kit. So we'll see that in RAML, after RAML we'll see that API kit. So we can mention that relative path, so we can route it accordingly. So these are so many inbound properties. These are all come by default. So next one is variables. So as of now there is no variables. So see, let's see next one. So still, because we didn't send the parameter query parameters, I will send you again query parameters. Just resume it. So this guy was expecting two parameters, query parameters. One is name equal to Venkat, type equal to IT. I'm saying. So just I'm trying to hit again. See, got the request. Let's see the payload. As of now, null payload. Let's click here. See, we got the payload with the string type. So next one is, see this here inbound. Previously query parameters is empty, right? You can see now. So what query parameters we are getting? See here HTTP query parameters size is 2. You can see what are they inside query parameters. Expand that. See query string expanded. In 0 we are getting it's a map actually. Map, you know that, right? Map key value pairs of kind of thing. This is a key, this is a value. Okay, so we are getting two parameters. So next one is, I'm clicking next level. Now see, as of now there is no variables actually. uh, you can see outbound property. I told you about property, right? Whenever you assign the information, whenever you set the property, that information will go to the outbound properties. But whereas in variable, so if you set the information variable, that will come under variable. That is the main difference. That will come and out property will come to the outbound property, variable come under variable. If you have any session variable, that will come here. That is the thing. Just I'm trying to display it. So now see the logger. We said three things. One is welcome to the mail session. See, this is name. This is type IT name maker, and again we set the payload also, right? We set the payload also. That's why it's displaying like this. Okay, so that is about that. Okay, so that's the thing about variable and property. So next one is we'll discuss about session variable. So here I was clearly explained the scope of the variable and session variable. So where is the difference between, what is the difference between session variable and flow variable? The main difference is that is based on the flow actually. So if we define the flow variable, the scope means the lifetime that variable is within a flow. But whereas in session variable, if you define the session variable, the lifetime is that is outside of the flow. So within your application, you can use anywhere actually. So we have a multiple flows, you can use anywhere else. So if you define as a session variable, okay. So but how to retrieve that session variable? Once you define it, how to retrieve it according to Mule expression language? So same thing again, I'm defining here, set a payload, I set it something. So I'm setting property. So and again similarly I just set a variable also. So this is a session variable actually. I just drag and drop the session variable. So I set the session variable. Here also two properties are there. One, remove session variable. So set session variable. If you don't want to continue this session variable to next level, then just remove that. Just remove that. So this one also getting the query parameter from the URL itself. I just hold that information. So here I'm saying about how to retrieve that information. So in the logger itself, I'm trying to display three values. First one is that is outbound property, that is nothing but a property value I'm trying to retrieve it. Second is nothing but so variable. So flow variable I'm retrieving it. What is the syntax? Flow vars dot. But here property message dot. So if you click dot, so it will show all the what are the possible values, the suggestions it will give actually. This is nothing but a Mule expression language. You can choose it actually whatever you want, it will choose it. That too, one more thing, if you click it outbound properties, it will show what are the list of outbound properties also. Means what are the properties before you set in that. It will show list. See this QP name automatically it will come in. You can choose it actually. That type of suggestions intelligence you can say. So that type of suggestions it will give. So here also if you click flow vars, it will show you automatically what the list of flow vars. See this QP type I defined as a flow variable. That's why it was showing like that. So next one is how to retrieve the session variables. So there is a here in case of flow variables we have to use flow var start that particular query parameter. So or else that particular parameter name, I mean flow variable name. So next one is session vars. So this is the session. This is the way to retrieve the session variables. Session vars dot that variable name, whatever you define that variable name should be unique. So see this. So this is the variable name actually. QPH. QPH. So that is I'm trying to retrieve here. Session vars dot. Whenever you click it out, it will show you what type of what are the session variables in your flow. So it will show you accordingly. You can choose it actually. So this is a way to define the session variable. This is a way you can use using Mule expression language. Okay, now. So that is about session variable and flow variable difference. Trying to run the application. You can see in logger what type of values you are getting. I have to pass three values now. IT and so see how to segregate the query parameters. So first one is after what we call after this query question mark means after this base path, so you have to give question mark. After that you can pass multiple parameters with ampersand. Next one is age equal to some it. So here we have to change the path is different, I guess. Session variable, I guess. Okay, enter. See, I just payload I set like this. The payload is coming. So now see the logger. In the logger itself, three values we are getting: name, type, age. Okay, so that is about session variable. See, I will explain the, if you want to scope and all, there is a concept called main flow, subflow, private flow. While explaining this difference between flows, that time I will explain this also. What was the scope, where is the scope, until where is the scope of session variable, where is the scope of ending scope of variable, I will show that time. Okay now. So in this session I'm trying to explain how to retrieve the session variable, how to define the session variable. Next session only we'll see flow variable, that private flow, main flow, then subflow differences. That time I will show you the difference between session variable and variable scope I will explain. Okay, so that is the thing, flow variable, session variable. So next one is message routing. So what is meant by message routing? So I will explain you that part. I will explain you theoretically. So then I will go for the POC. So message routing is nothing but sometimes what happened. So I was giving example last time actually. So we have I implemented one service, right? So that service should support multiple devices. Think like that, multiple devices it should support. See, generally whatever we are going to implement services, API services, so that should implement. Nowadays people are using different devices like mobile, tab, then desktop, like that. The different devices they are using, right? So whatever you are going to implement, that should support multiple devices. So suppose I'm giving example actually for message routing, how to route the request. So generally here there are two ways to route the things actually. So one is we have a API kit is there internally. So we can use that API kit, we can route the request actually. Suppose we are getting a request from tab, or else we are getting a request from the mobile, or else we are getting a request from the desktop. How will segregate? So there is a multiple use cases. I'm going to explain one use case. So we can capture one variable. We can capture one variable from the user point of view, from the consumer point of view. So that is nothing but a device ID. We can keep it a device ID. Boss, whenever you will hitting my request, whenever you are going to consume my service, can you send me device ID? We can ask like that. So based on the device ID, so they will send a device ID like if it is a desktop, they will send some desktop. If it is some other lap, some other what we call some other mobile, they will send a mobile ID. Okay. So based on that, we can route it actually. So I have a three flows. One is mobile related flow, another one is desktop related, another one is some other thing. Okay. So based on that device ID, we can route that. We can send to that request information, whatever user hitting, that information, that payload we have to send to that particular flow. You are clear? So that is the thing actually. If you want to route it, if you want to route and if you want to go to particular flow, you can able to route. So there is a component called choice component. You can use choice component. You can route it actually. Just search in parent. You can see the choice component. You can use that. You can drag and drop into the here, and accordingly you can use it actually. It's a condition based. So there is a, in Java there is a if else kind of thing is there. Same thing you can achieve using choice component here. Is it clear? So that is a use case actually. You can use that type of use case. So you can use this type of choice also. You can route it accordingly. Okay, now. So this will also will use frequently will use whenever you implement the service. Frequently will use like suppose think one more scenario I'm going to explain. So when you will use this type of choice thing. So I mean you can say switch cases also, right? Um, so here, whenever hit the target system, suppose I'm trying to hit to the some Salesforce sandbox to retrieve some opportunity information. So we are sending some opportunity ID. So if ID is there, we get the information. If not ID is there, some opportunity ID does not exist, it will give. So the target system might be they will give like that. So that time what happen, if you are getting successful response, we are getting 200. Hope you are heard about this status codes. 200 is for success, 400 is for 400 is for bad request, I mean failure response. 500 is for some server related errors, network issues, server related errors, internal server issues. That time we will get HTTP status code 500. So see, whenever we get the information from the target system, we are getting that HTTP status code. If it is a 200, you have to give successful path. See, my scenario is whenever we get the success information, we are getting the opportunity information from the sandbox. After getting the sandbox information, my use case is I want to insert that opportunity into particular queue. I want to keep it that information into queue. Using that, there is a component called JMS queue and then ActiveMQ connector. Using that, we can push the information into queue. So whenever we get the success response from the sandbox, right? So we can push it into message into queuing mechanism. So when that is happen, whenever 200 status we get. If you get the 400, then I have to show to that some bad request or something like that. You can route it. If you are getting 500, we can give it as a boss getting internal server or else might be server down. So can you try after some time? We can give it action. So that time what happen, you can use choice component, we can route it accordingly. So if you say if you are getting 200, then push the information to queue. If you are getting a 400, give that proper error to the user. Boss, we are getting a bad request, might be some other input is not properly framed, properly formatted, we can give it like that. Similarly 500 also. So that time also you can use choice component, you can route it accordingly. So hope you are clear theoretically. I was giving multiple use cases. Any questions on that?
What APIs? APIs, you said that you can route using API.
Yeah, that API kit is there. I will explain you. There is a concept called RAML, RAML, RAML. So whenever you use RAML, right, we'll create the RAML file. So whenever we are going to create a project, while creating a project, file, new, Mule project, if you see the bottom option, add API kit components, add API kit components. So how we'll get that
Mm.
API kit component? There is a API manager is there. We can create a API actually. So in the API, what we'll in the API manager, there is an option to write the RAML thing. So the RAML
Mm.
contains the restrictions actually. How many parameters we are getting from the user, how many parameters we have to send, what was the URL, what was the request URL, so what was the method it is, either a get method or else post method or else a delete method, whole things we have to mention in a RAML file, RAML RAML file. That RAML once you done, so there is a possibility to export in the API manager. I will show you that part. So that part we have to explode here, export here actually. There is an option called browse here, right? We can click this, we can export after downloading from the API manager. That time what happen? By default flows also it will generate actually. According to your RAML structure, it will generate the basic flows. Suppose in the RAML I mentioned one post request, one get request, right? That information whenever you will upload in the RAML here, automatically the basic flows, I'm not saying complete flow, basic flows it will create it, then we can continue next level actually. So how it will create? One get flow it will create, one post flow it will create. That routing part is the now who will take care of the routing part? That API kit will take care of the routing part. I will show you that part. Okay. Don't worry. So there is a concept called Ravel. That time I will explain clear with the scenarios. Okay. So as of now, that is the
Okay.
thing message routing. So I'm going to giving the some example here, some use case. So see this here. My request is my use case is so whenever user will hit with some language, that is also query parameter I'm expecting. So whenever user send language equals some English, right? That time what happened? I have to route it to English information. Whenever user hit to some language equals Spanish or else something else, accordingly I have to check the condition in the choice. Then accordingly I'll route it. If user language equal French, I have to route to this French component. Whenever user will send to the Spanish, I have to route to this. Whenever user, so otherwise condition, that time what happened, it will come to English, finally I displaying into the log. So see this, here you are clear with this, right? This is a, what we call, it's a variable. In the variable, I'm capturing that information into variable, right? Whatever the user will enter query parameter, I'm just capturing, I'm trying to push next level. So here choice, this is a condition. Observe here how to write it. So see this, whenever you drag and drop the choice component, so you can get like this actually. So first we can add it actually. So I already added three conditions. That's why it's displaying. By default, if you want to add one more thing, you can, like this it will come actually. So first one is flow vars. So already you know that how to fetch the flow vars now. So there is a syntax called flow vars dot that variable name, whatever you give that unique name, we have to use it. Next, equal to French means if the user enter query parameter as a French, where should it will redirect to reply French? It would redirect to reply French component. Means that component it will redirect. Next, user will enter Spanish. Just here I'm in the condition I'm checking what user enter. If it is equal to, it will go to that part. If it is not equal, it will go to some other part. If user doesn't anything, think like that. User doesn't anything, language equal to empty. He doesn't put anything. Then the time what happen? It will go default. The default language is English. If user sends with Spanish, it will go to Spanish. User sends with French, it will go to French. You are clear, right? So that is the thing. You can see XML part also. You can see here also. You can see analyze it how internally what happened choice component what it will do. So these are choice to choice. Okay. So here see this what happened here when expression. So see how will how this is a Mule expression language MEL. So flowvars dot language equal French, flowvars dot Spanish, then variables. See the otherwise option. When, next one is when, next otherwise. So means you can say like this: if, else if, else if, then finally else part. Say first condition satisfied, this will go here. Second condition satisfied, this will go here. Similarly, right? Else if also same thing. If you send first time if condition, we have to check the condition. Then if condition satisfied, it will go to internal part inside of that if. Else if again I'm sending one more condition. Else if it will satisfy else if condition, it will go to the inside of else if. Anyone is not satisfied, then it will go to otherwise option. That is else option. Same thing here. Okay, so once that is done, what I'm doing here, I'm just displaying that information into that particular language. I just keep it as a payload. This is nothing but a payload, right? I'm just displaying the information to payload. See this, here's payload actually. There is a payload. This is a payload. I'm trying to display information of the payload itself. Replying French, replying Spanish, replying by default, I'm again set the language as English here. Next one is replying English. Then finally whole information I'm displaying as a payload in the logger itself. Okay, I'm trying to run this application. Debug as I will show in debug mode, you will get more clarification on that. Okay, hope it's got deployed. Okay, deployed successfully. Then hit the request. So follow the base path here. Message. message equal to message is the base part. Next language is the that flow variable name. I'm trying to hit it. Okay, so see this, I got the request. So it hold here. So see payload is nothing. Next one is see the query parameter what we are getting. Query parameter. Query parameter is where is this? Query parameter size 1. So what we are getting in size 1, French you are getting, language equal French. Now see, how it will go the request. I'm just hitting next level. See this, it got satisfied, right? Which condition satisfied? First condition. First condition satisfied. So because flow where's that language equal to French, that time what happened? Where it will go? It will go to the first level. So that's why it will redirect to the that particular component. Then it will jump to the logger. Is it clear? In debug mode, you can clearly see. So tracking how where it will go, how it is going. There is a variable got set up. Next one is finish it. Okay, see this display in payload, right? So in that it will get that particular language whatever you are set. Okay, again I'm trying to hit with the empty value. Let's see what happened. I'm not sending any language. That should go default, right? Let's see. I'm trying to hit it. I'm not sending any data. See, language key is I'm sending, but there is no value. One more thing I told you about the Mule expression language. Can you see this symbol? Evaluate Mule expression. There is a symbol called evaluate Mule expression. Sunil, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. I thought you're not there. So see this, if you click the symbol, there is a dialog will come. There is a pop-up will come. Here you can check it actually, that Mule expression language. So see this. So you can remove these things also not required. Already it is under hash. Okay. So see this. You can see flowwares.language equal French. I am checking. It will display that false. See this? Flowwise.language value empty. Here you can see everything actually. So what message you are getting? That is the message, whole message actually. So many things are there in message. Next one is what payload you are getting. You can check like this actually what type of flow bars we are getting, empty you are getting, and what payload we are getting, payload is null. So this is a MEL you can see in debug mode. In debug mode you can see. Here this while developing this will most useful actually. So you can check here itself what data we are getting, what type of data we're getting. Three things where it will display: name of that particular payload and variable what you want to see. Next one is value of that. Next one is type of that. According to type, you can convert it. You can transfer it to next level. Okay. So next one is where should it will go? It will drag to the particular default thing what you want to mention. Then click resume. See, it should come in English. Similarly, I'm displaying logger also. You can see in logger also. Okay, so that is about message routing. So based on the request, you can route accordingly. So this is one use case. I told you about different use cases, right? Based on the device, you can route it particular flow. That is this is what we can say. This is one. You can keep it on subflow that will write it to mobile render. We can keep it as some subflow. We can refer. We can keep it a flow reference. It will route to the desktop implementation. Why I took that scenario? Device ID. Suppose think like this. Use case is like this. User want to see number of priority cases. Nowadays P1 P2 cases will raise it, right? Suppose think like this, there is a Airtel app is there. Okay, Airtel is there. Airtel, I mean, user will raise so many requests, right? P1 issues, P2 issues, P3 issues, right? P1, P2 means there is a priority I'm talking about. If it is a P1 issue, P1 that is a high priority, immediate response required actually, immediate response or else immediate resolution required actually. That is a P1, P2, P3 like that. So the time what happened, user want to see some Airtel side, there is a manager is there. He want to see today's list of cases, today's list of P1 cases he want to see. So that time what happened, he might be he will use tab, he can use it, might be he will use mobile in his mobile, or else might be he will use desktop. So why I'm saying that use case, analyze it. In the mobile you can't able to see multiple records at a time in the mobile, right? So in the desktop you can say might be 20-30 cases at a time because it's a big one, right? In the mobile you can't able to show more than 5-10 cases, right? Maximum can show for scrolling we can give might be 10-15 cases, not more than that. Suppose today's cases, whenever you hit the query database, that 100 cases we are getting. Today's cases are might be beyond related 100 cases. That time what happened, we can't able to show that 100 cases into mobile at a time. So that is a problem. So we can show that 100 cases in desktop, but we can't show in mobile. So that's why what we need to do, we are getting device ID, right? Based on the device ID, we have to implement here. If it is a mobile, we have to send 10 records at a time. Once 10 records seeing the user, then he will click some pagination kind of thing. Page 1, page 2, page 3 kind of thing. You will click next page. Then that time what happened? Again it will come the request from us. We are getting page number and page size, right? That time what happened? We will send again 10 more records. Or else might be mobile have some cache. Whoever working on that mobile developer, he maintain next 10 records also in the cache, but he will show only 10 records at a time. Whenever user will enter second page, that time what happened? Already he hold that information, next 10 records hold information in the cache. He will show that 10 records to the user. You are clear, right? That's what accordingly you can route it actually. Okay, so that is about message routing. So next one is what we'll see. MEL also we'll see. We'll quick look on MEL expression. Tomorrow we'll see flows and subflows and provide flows. Coming to MEL, we'll see. So this is MEL expression. Expression anyway. First onwards we are using MEL expression only for retrieving, for fetching the information, for putting the information. Again, I'm giving one more POC on that. So many scenarios on that. See, in first case, HTTP is a base path. We have to mention port number and localhost and all. See, so this is the MEL expression, Mule expression. So you can keep it whatever you type it, right? Whatever apart from that, this thing is hard coded. Whatever you type it as it is, it will display. This is a payload where it will display this payload on the browser itself. It will display on the browser. Apart from that, I want to get the dynamic data. So this hello is hard coded. Whatever you hard coded, it will display accordingly. but I want to get dynamic data. Suppose might be it's a environment specific, or else might be it's a you are sending some query parameters. I have to return that query parameters, or else environment specific. So based on the environment, suppose if it is a dev, it is a different data. If it is a production, it's a different data. That time what happened? You have to keep it one property file in the project itself. Accordingly, that particular property you have to get it from the property. We have to use that related keys actually. If you are in production, you have to get dynamically. So for that time, you have to use this Mule Expression Language, MEL, Mule Expression Language. You have to use it. How to write it? See this, there is a message dot. This here I am trying to get that query parameter actually. Message dot inbound properties. Whatever the inbound properties, whatever the request coming from the user, that is coming under inbound properties. Inbound properties of http dot query dot params of what name user is giving, what key name. So key name means here I'm talking about this actually. This is nothing but a key actually. So I mean query parameter, as you can say. That based on that query parameter, I'm trying to fetch that information using MEL expression, using Mule Expression Language. Okay. Then after that, what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to just display that information. Where it will display? This is a payload, right? That file, that information we should display here. That is simple thing. Next one is I'm keeping all these things again repeating. So HTTP again choice here, right? So here how will check the choice condition according to our Mule expression language again. See message.inbound properties of HTTP query params username equal to empty, equal to empty. If user doesn't send anything, what happen? Set to payload for invalid username. I'm trying to set it. If it is a empty, if it is a empty, I'm redirecting to this particular payload. Boss, you are not entering anything, so no username provided. I'm giving actually. This again hard coded actually in the payload. So next one is other condition is what? Other thing. Otherwise means else part. It's the default part. Default part, in the default part I am setting set payload for valid username. So here I'm just giving some name as a hard coded. Sorry, whatever they are sending, I'm trying to get dynamically. Again, this is a Mule expression language. Is Mule expression language, we are trying to retrieve that information, whatever user entered information. That is the second use case. Third one is Third one is these two things already we saw that, that's why I didn't deploy it. If you want me to deploy, I can able to deploy. So next one is third one is greeting flow 3. Observe here. So there is a HTTP component, there is inbound point same, inbound connector same thing. Next one is set username to flow wires. So this is a new component, we'll get it here. Observe here, this is a new component here. So this is nothing but a expression. You can see this here. See this is the expression. That expression I am using here. In the expression, what I am doing, see the Java will support here. We can write like this: flowwires.username. Flowwires.username. Whatever user entered information, I am trying to get the information and just keep it to flowwires.username. Means here what happened in the expression, I'm trying to create a variable. I'm trying to fetch that information from the user from the URL. I'm trying to assign that information to this username flow variable. Hope you are clear. That is the expression new component. So internally what happened, one variable it will create whatever the user information from the URL, that information we are trying to assign to the flow variable. So next one is set to payload output file. Set to payload output file. So this again, it's a simple payload only. What I'm trying to do, so see this, so many things I'm trying to display it actually. So first one is username I'm trying to display it. Next one is query parameter I'm trying to display it. all the information using MEL expression language. I'm trying to display it. HTTP query parameter age is greater than 18. I'm trying to display all these things. Okay, so next one is what I'm trying to do. Fourth component here. Save output file to the folder. Save output file to the folder. So this is nothing but a FTP. This is nothing but a FTP, file transfer protocol. Using this FTP, what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to save that information into particular file. This is FTP. Trying to save that information into particular path. So it will ask the path. It will ask the path. You can store accordingly. So here browse button will come. You can store it. Then finally what happened in the payload using Mule expression language, I'm trying to display that. This where you set the flow variable under expression. Under expression you set it actually. Using that we are trying to display that information. Okay, I will execute this use case, third use case, because it's a new one. For that I want some input. Okay. Oh, didn't deploy it right. I'm trying to deploy this application and debug mode. And then training debuggers, mail application. Okay, let's come to grade 3, grade view 3. So next one is I'm clicking here. So see this username you are getting. Observe here in the expression you define it right as a flow variable that is coming here. I mean you can say debug mode that is username. Next one is what payload is coming null. Next one is now see this. I set all the information right in the payload itself. I get all the information. I try to display it in the payload. You can see payload is whole information, your name, age, some all values, 3 values I'm setting into the payload. Next one is what? It should save in your local. I just give some path, right? It should save. Then finally I'm displaying that information into browser where it is. Sorry, that is a logger. In the logger, it will display that information. See, go and check this page and this should come as a yeah, I'm trying to display the name here. Check the path file got created. Dat file is created. See, just now it got created 8 o'clock, 12, 11, 21. It's a dat file I'm trying to open and edit plus. See this? Your name 22 and true. Okay, na? So that is the thing. Okay. So similarly other things also I will explain briefly. So can you say how it will? So in this application I have so many flows are there, right? So how it will redirect to particular flow on which basis? Can you answer
Port
me?
number.
Port number?
Mm.
Port number? I will show you the port number. So what was the port number here?
Port number and path. variable
Yes,
path
exactly,
given.
exactly. Based on path, it will redirect. For port number, all are same actually, but path is different. That's why it will redirect. Here is a grade 2, there is somewhere else grade 3, grade 4 like that. So that's why accordingly it will redirect to particular flow. Okay, I will explain the fifth scenario. So here what I'm trying to do, same thing. I'm trying to hold the username. Next one is payload, same thing. Save to the folder. Next displaying, that is common. Next one is here. Where is that CSV thing is there? Yeah, yeah. So here, see this. We are getting some information. We are trying to convert it to map to CSV. We're getting some information, whatever the information, that the age and the name and something, right? We are getting as a map actually. That map we are converting to CSV. How will convert into CSV? In the 3.7, in the 3.7, there is a component called data wave. Data wave component is there. Data wave. Using the data wave, I'm trying to convert the data into CSV. How will convert it? Simple thing. So data wave, this is a component of data wave. Just we have to drag and drop. There is a transform message. See this. There is a transform message component is there. Just we have to drag and drop the transform message. See the symbol. Transform message. And inside transform message, what you are getting, what you want to get it, what you want as output, you have to mention. See, percentile output I want CSV, output I want CSV, application slash CSV you have to give it. Next one is what? See this, how to assign the data. Username, age, and then age condition you have to give it. See here how to get the information. In the payload everything is there, right? Because we are setting the payload here. In the payload everything is there. So from the payload you can get it. Payload.username, payload.age means it's kind of a map actually. So that's why it's kind of map. So using this you can get it. So we are sending key. Username is key, the value will get it actually. If you send the key, we'll get the value. That information we have to mention here. So means that is a data wave. We have to tell what type of output you want. We have to mention that. Then for getting output, you have to send the input, right? That input we have to retrieve based on that payload. Then after that, what I'm trying to do, I'm just store the information, similar previous scenario. Then um, after that, the type is byte array we are getting actually. That's why what I did, I'm trying to convert into string format. Further, there is a component called byte array to string. Byte array to string option is there. I just drag and drop that byte array to string. See this byte array to string, I just drag and drop that component, then finally I display. So that is another scenario. So next one is finally JSON to object. So this is another scenario. I will execute this scenario. Convert JSON to object. Okay. Because the input is we are getting as a JSON. So I'm trying to convert that JSON to object. Next one is holding the username, uh, set the payload, then store the information. Okay, but here user are sending some information to the flow. That's why what happened, we should use, means he is submitting some information to the server. That's why here previous all requests are get request only, but this is the post request, means user hitting some information to the server. That's why using browser you can't able to execute this scenario actually. You are getting, that is a post request. So because user want to send some JSON data to the server. So that's why I'm just copying that the JSON format here. This is the JSON format. This is the JSON format. I'm just copying it. How to execute that thing? There is a possibility. We have a third-party apps are there, Postman client, REST client, but through browser you can't able to send the post request. That's why I'm using some third-party uh, uh, third-party software is called Postman. I mean, this is a plugin for Chrome actually. You can just add the plugin. How will add it? Just type in Google plugin for Postman plugin for Chrome. Just add it. Just add it. Okay, automatically it will come to apps here. These are all plugins for Chrome, right? Like this, you can add multiple plugins. Just it will appear here. Just click on this. It will come like this. Okay. So here we can send the post request. Even get request also we can send it. Why I'm using here, whatever my scenario, my use case, can't able to achieve using request using this browser actually. That's why I'm using here Postman client. So here, what was the URL? URL is, where it is, HTTP localhost grid 6. I'm just giving that URL here. How to pass the URL here. Just removing the headers is not required. Okay, grid 6. What is your port number? 7031. Next one is it's a post request, right? Observe here, if it's a post request, some body you have to give it. See, some body was expected. If it is a get request, it won't expect anything from you. So, post request, I have to send some body for this. What was the body? That is a JSON format is the body. Just keep it a body. Okay. Just meanwhile I will try. I will run a debug mode. Will get clarity. Yeah, that is in debug mode. Not sure. Debug else mail application. Save. Just keep it debug here in the flow 6. Okay, you want me to stop?
Yeah, they're done for today.
Oh, okay, fine, no issue. We'll continue tomorrow then. Okay, no? Just I will show you tomorrow how to hit the request from the postman. Okay, I will explain tomorrow.
Mm.
Okay, so tomorrow onwards I will take continuous session. So we'll take